I kid you not, the government are just about to make their bill an actual legal law, the Fear Bill. In this video, I'm going to be giving you a little brief overview on who exactly is going to be affected by this bill and in what ways, because it's not just for people on benefits. Now, unfortunately, it is that horrible red colour, which means it's at the final stages. This has been snuck in so quietly, so quietly. I almost think that all of the immigration problems that we've been talking about so much in the mass media right now has been used as a little bit of a divisive smokescreen. So let's get into it. Now, there have been a few amendments to this bill, and unfortunately I cannot bring you good news about this because the amendments are pretty shocking. Things that I thought would be taken out, such as somebody having the right to come into your home, do searches, remove documents, devices, property as if they were the police, but in fact they are not the police. Things like that. And things like money being taken from your bank account without any actual evidence other than just having reasonable belief or reasonable, probability that there may be fraud, is simply enough. I know. The UK just gets worse and worse and worse, doesn't it? But anyway, let's get to who is this going to affect. And before I do that, I want to say again, thank you to everybody for getting the Health Journal, your 12-month evidence system. We have to evidence everything today, particularly good for tribunals, employment tribunals, PIP tribunals, even employers. You can get it on Amazon. It is linked down below, and it is an Amazon #1 bestseller now, thanks to you guys. So thank you so much. Make sure you watch the PIP playlist for more videos and tutorials on all of that good stuff. Now, unfortunately, I kid you not, powers of entry, search and seizure, rights to recover are just some of the horrible things that this amended bill talks about, as well as recovery orders, direct deduction orders, etc, etc. But in this video, I want to talk to you about who does this specifically affect. Who is this new Fear Bill going to target? Now, this act in particular talks about liable persons, as we can see here. So the liable people, as I said before, are just not people on benefits. And in that amended document, there is this very specific line where an amount is recoverable from a liable person who holds an account. I'm going to tell you that can be a partner that you live with, that can be somebody that you have a joint bank account with, that can be somebody you even share a house with. So according to this Fear Bill, basically, if the government says you owe money, you are a liable person. And that can be a current benefit claimant. It can even be a past benefit claimant. And that past history can go back 12 years. So even if you've been on benefits and stopped, it can go back 12 years. Anybody later accused of overpayment, and I see in the comments, I'm seeing a lot of people stating they're being accused of overpayments, and according to you guys and girls, you're saying I don't owe this money. Anyone who owes any government debt to a public authority, that can be the council, DWP, PIP, NHS, and the list of that goes on. And basically, joint account holders are specifically named in this amended document, and anyone connected to somebody that is a liable person is therefore, by the very virtue of the context, a liable person as well. So that could be carers, power of attorney, appointees. And as I said before, this is not just for people on PIP. Now I'm just going to read this little bit out here where the red arrow is pointing. The Secretary of State may make a direct deduction on order. Sorry, let me read that again. The Secretary of State may make a direct deduction order in respect of any account which A, is held by a liable person, and B, contains an amount in which the Secretary of State considers the liable person has a beneficial interest. So let me give you an example of what that means specifically. Let's just say you have a joint account and your partner has £2,000 in it. Because of this new FEAR bill, the DWP can legally assume half of it belongs to you and thereby take that half, even if they didn't earn it. Now for partners, family, carers, they're all covered under this amended bill at the moment as deputies. So I'm going to break that down a little bit more too. If somebody manages your finances, or you manage your finances for somebody else, as in a partner, family, carer, or appointee, a faculty, or by that very nature has power of attorney, and in most cases even if you don't have power of attorney or you are listed on the account, you are then treated the same as the account holder. So that means carers, parents, adult children, partners, financial supporters can all be pulled into investigation and have all of their banks accessed and even have funds removed from their banks. Now, if you look at this clause here, there we go, where we've got here 3.1, before the Secretary of State makes a direct deduction order in respect of a liable person's account, the Secretary of State must obtain and consider bank statements for the account covering a period of at least 3 months. Now, that 3 months is very integral to some of the, what they've outlined here in the investigation of potential fraud, is that in the new FEAR bill, any of those persons I've just mentioned can have or will be having their bank accounts monitored, surveyed, for a minimum of 3 months, and your bank is not even allowed to tell you under this new FEAR bill. And as you can see here, it says a notice under this paragraph must set out how and when the bank must comply with the notice and explain that the bank may be liable to a penalty under paragraph 20 if it fails to do so without reasonable excuse. So for lots of you who've been saying to me in the comments, what about GDPR? Doesn't the bank have to maintain, client privacy? Well, apparently not anymore. Now, unfortunately, this has all come about because people defraud so much. But I do feel that there are a lot of genuine errors, particularly from some of my private consultations and things I've had with people. So I just think this is, very, very, very severe. And what I'm most shocked about is that our government can do this to the people that live here, but they can't work out such a severe bill for all of the illegal immigration that we're having arriving in boats. I just think it's just shocking. Perhaps like the balance is a dynamic that is very, very unbalanced. So here is the big list of everybody who is potentially affected. I'm sure it's going to extend. So claimant benefits now, those people that used to claim benefits, people that live with someone who claims benefits, someone that has a joint bank account with someone who claims benefits now or past, anyone that receives money into their account on behalf of someone, manages someone's finances, power of attorney, appointee, even carers perhaps, has any debt to a public authority, tax, council, NHS, rent arrears, student loan, and the list goes on. Now, I wanted to keep this video a little bit shorter for you, but if you want me to break down the next section of this bill, which is, you know, what sort of things can they do? How do you think I might see this manifesting? Let me know. Simply put, I don't know, OMG in the comments. That might be a good one because it's pretty shocking. But I'm also going to give you a little tip in the next video on what you can do when it comes to keeping records for certain things, particularly if you're on a benefit or you are, you know, disabled, you're on PIP or something like that. What sort of things you can do to make sure that you have the right documentation in place should you be put under some sort of investigation, etc, etc. So thanks for also sharing and supporting me at the Justice Journals, everybody here at the Justice Journals, and helping our community grow pure and strong. See you in the next video.